Hi there everybody, g'day, I'm Pat from Tell Your Story Media. We've jumped on George's Facebook page. I insisted that George hit the button. So we're in our studio here at Tell Your Story Media. George and I are mates, so I invited him in today to check out the studio. And then I said, sit down George, let's go live, let's get on Facebook and record this. And I want to get you on this side of the camera, George. Welcome to our studio. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks for having me, Pat.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Now, I know you're in between sort of jobs here, you're going to race off. You're a busy man, aren't you? You've got a lot going on. Yeah.
Yes. I've got to leave in half an hour to go to another job, another shoot.
I reckon we could do 30 minutes on your Facebook page?
I think we can.
Yeah.
But I need 10 minutes to pack up as well.
And you told me you were nervous a little bit because you're not a nervous person.
I don't usually get nervous.
You're very calm. You deal with technical problems all the time. You deal with it all the time. But yeah. You're not nervous, are you? No, you're fine.
I was feeling a little bit nervous before when we were talking about what we're going to talk about, but I feel fine now.
Because I said to you, you're going to give us some secrets. Now, if anybody wants to ask any questions, they can on Facebook. Now, secrets and technique, because we met through your video business, mostly real estate. That's your specialty and your niche, selling real estate through video.
Yeah.
Now, video is highly engaging. I do lots of stuff with audio, so I'm doing most of the talking here. So George, will give you a chance at
No,
audio, but when I do video,
Yep.
it's up there. It's different to audio. So it's something you've been doing for a long, long time. So let's start with that. The magic of video, and what have you learnt through using your videos to sell real estate?
I've learned that they definitely help increase the sale value.
Yeah, okay.
But they also help the agent expose themselves in the area and show their next clients what they can do with the next property. Like, that's the biggest thing. A lot of people initially think it's just to sell the home, but it's a great way as an agent to utilize like current technologies, like all the social medias where everyone is at the moment.
Yeah.
And be available on there and convenient if they need to contact someone as well.
Yeah. So it's two-pronged in a way. You're selling the house, but it's an awareness thing for the agent and their business for the next sale.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you could be a traditional agent and rock up with doing appraisal. I don't know too much about being an agent, but from what I've seen and heard, like, you could rock up and just have photos, and these are our photos that we do, and this is our marketing. But if you want above average listings and you want above average clients, I believe you've got to do above average things.
Yes.
So doing videos and making sure the social media is dialed in correctly is really important, because you bring that ammo into the appraisal or the valuation when you're looking for an agent.
Yes.
And that's in their arsenal to say, like, we do this, we do that.
Yeah.
And that's...
But I reckon real estate are like leaders in that space, don't they? Or there's some still ignoring it, because, you're right. They're, when it comes to digital, I mean, everything when it comes to a home, it's always online.
Yep.
For everything really, but more so real estate. So there's some real estate places out there still a bit behind the curve, still need to give it a bit more love.
There is, because there's a broad range of demographic in real estate. There's the older people that are traditional. Yeah, most of the directors that have got the money have had the business for all these years. Yeah, right. And then there's the young people coming in.
They're stuck in their ways.
Yeah, the young people coming in who understand, like, TikTok and Instagram stories and Reels, utilising that and getting the views. Yeah. And like, I think with any business to do well, you need maximum amount of people to know who you are and what you do.
Of course,
because that's literally the problem that most people face, is like, they actually don't know who you are.
Yeah. What about your technique? I mean, you're very easy to get along with. You've got the drone that you use, and you go back and sort of create, at least in my case, you went back and created the video and fixed it all up with the drone and an intro and an outro. But the technique, is there anything we should know? I guess not to be boring. I mean, is there anything that you watch for when you come in and the real estate agent? Do you need somebody who's got a bit of life in them, I guess, and who can sell, or what sort of technique do you use?
I try and be most efficient always.
Yeah.
I'm not a big team. I'm usually it's just 2 of us, 3 of us, and then all the people editing behind the scenes. Yeah. But on the shoot, I try not to overcomplicate things and blow out the costs. I'll come in, I'll do a bit of a style on the house. So I'll come in and if I see a couch that's out of place, I'll say, we're going to move this into the garage. Yeah. Or I say, this lampshade looks old, like, let's get rid of that. Or this looks cheap. And I do like a bit of a style consultation when I walk in. Yeah. Even after a proper stylist has come in. Because sometimes through photos and video, it looks different.
So you look through the lens. Yeah, okay.
So that's the first thing I usually do when I go to a property. Yeah. But then the utilization of the cameras and the lenses and the 4K quality with the wide angle and maximising the brightness, so we open up all the windows.
Right.
Make it look light and bright and inviting, and it's our goal as professional real estate marketers to make that house look the very best from the best angles possible.
I know even for this video, I made you sit down. You said, "I've got my hat on, I've got my jacket on." So just for our viewers, I just plonked George down, and here we are doing this live, and with no notice. So is it basically what you're doing in a nutshell? I know they can see it on Facebook and Instagram. It's a walkthrough, yeah? So what I did with you was a walkthrough. So real estate agents are saying, "Hi and welcome, this house is for sale," and they do a lap of the house, and then people watch it and they decide if they're going to come to the auction or buy it.
Yeah, well, different agents have different techniques.
Right.
And I feel like the agent has to do what's comfortable for them. Some people don't want to be on camera at all. They believe it's about the house. They don't want to be in it at all.
Right.
Whereas other agents, they bring their energy to bring their perceived value up.
What do you prefer? I reckon to have a person, a real live person.
Yeah.
Because I've seen those real estate videos that just have the music, some really glossy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, real estate, all sorts of products, and they do work and they're engaging. But sometimes, I guess what you're going for, sometimes a real person, a bit of a friendlier face might help. Yeah. I guess it depends on what you want to achieve. Yeah, okay.
What do I prefer? I prefer jobs that are just easy. I prefer homes that are styled, freshly painted, renovated, because I don't really have to change much.
Right.
Where the real skill comes into play is, say if we're shooting a rental property or a tenanted property where the tenant has not put any effort into styling because obviously they're just renting.
Cat hair everywhere and
so
breakfast cereals on the bench.
Those ones there are a little bit more difficult to make look good because it takes a little bit more work. But with any job you get the easy with the hard, and I don't try not to complain about it. I just do it.
Yeah, that's it. I noticed that. You could.
Yeah.
So who's watching us? So this is your personal Facebook page. So we got your followers on.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I never really go live on there, so.
Okay. Well, thanks for trusting me with your audience, mate. Now we spoke about this before going live, and this is what I'm doing here in this studio. So tell your story, media, and you mentioned it before we started. When somebody interviews you, so my thing is we'll get people in the studio and we'll interview them about their story. It could be their personal journey, it could be about a product they're launching, could be about anything. So when somebody interviews you, it's easier because you don't need to prep up, a bit of camera. It also gives credibility because you're not talking about yourself. It's sort of a bit of a different vibe.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, I think anyone who's ever been famous before in the world, it's happened via media releases.
Right.
Whether it be text, newspapers, YouTube videos, whatever. It's just a number of media releases that happened. Let's just say Beyonce. We had a song released. We had this thing happen. And obviously she's talented as well. But we live in a day and age where you can actually create your own media now quite easily from home.
Got it. So in a way you can create the illusion that people are talking about you in a way. Well, it's PR. That's been around forever.
Yeah. Well, you can ask people to talk about you as well. You can jump on websites like Fiverr and get someone to review you. You can pay someone to review you.
Okay.
So and some people might say that as dodgy, but...
Well, it's always been there. I know my background with the media, there's always been a PR element where behind the scenes people are turning the wheels and sort of creating interest. I mean, that's always been there. Maybe it's a bit slightly different game now. With social media and digital stuff. But let's talk about you, George, because you are truly an expert in this space. You know what you're talking about because did you fall into it in a way, or you started off as a young man and did it all yourself, and you've learnt, you've made all the mistakes, so now you can help people?
Yeah, I have to thank my dad actually. He saw capturing family memories being really important at a young age. So my dad invested and spent a lot of money back then to buy one of those big cameras that take a full VHS tape. And me being the eldest of 4 kids, Dad would sometimes want to be in because he was always filming, and he'd ask me, he'd say, "George, can you film?" Because I was the eldest and I was the only one who could really carry the thing because it was a big on-shoulder mount.
The big tape that goes in.
My first, film gigs were filming home stuff.
Right.
So, and I learned how to zoom on it, and I learned, and then that was where it started. And then as time went on and digital video cameras came out, my dad went and bought a digital video camera. That's when I could upload to the computer and start playing around with music. And fortunately, one of Dad's friends left his Mac for me to use when he went away on holidays. And I was just obsessed. I mean, I've always been pretty creative, like into art and music and all that. I just actually, as a hobby, was doing this. And I went to uni, which was a complete waste of time. I wish I didn't go. Oh, I'm not going to mention
it.
Don't mention
Probably the one I went
I'm not
to.
going to mention Victoria University.
That's right, we'll cut that out.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to me, you know. People often say that. In this studio we talk about people's lives.
Yeah.
It's a passion when you're young, you're obsessed by it, and it just gets into your bones and your blood. So when I asked you to think about your tricks and stuff before you went on, you had to think about it because it's just intrinsic to you. You sort of just do it almost without even thinking about it.
Well, composition is important, like filming the room and the space from the correct angles, because any normal average person would walk in and kind of just hold it at head height, but that's not always where it looks the nicest, because our goal is to increase the perceived value of the home, which might add another 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 grand, hopefully.
Nice. Yeah.
Just from someone seeing it and be like, wow, I want that.
Yeah.
I live once. I buy a house once.
Yes,
that's the
correct.
one. That looks cool.
That's true. That's true. And the housing market's sort of a bit wobbly now. There's all this talk about it getting tougher. But when you want something and you fall in love with it, I know it's, you know, there's the emotional decision
Attachment.
and the head and the heart. But yeah, you put it in video, they're sitting at home, they're watching it, it captures their imagination.
Yeah.
And before you know it, they're happy to pay another 20, 30 grand because they want it.
Yeah.
Well, what about technical, sorry, because I've thought of this, because people do this wrong all the time. Sound. Being a radio guy, people often have this echoey sound. They use the iPhone, they're standing at the back, and it's sort of a funny... If you get your bloody sound right, it's so much easier. It's better.
Well, that's one thing that can make a video look professional. So one thing that makes a video look average is average sound.
Yeah.
As soon as you put a high quality audio or a mic feed, like we're running mics right now, you'll see that this sounds semi-legit.
Yeah, that's right. Ricky's doing all the hard work.
Well, it is fully legit.
Any questions coming through, Ricky? Or anything? No.
I cannot see any.
No, I'm looking
No
here.
comments.
I can't see anything. Well, that's all right. We're sort of pumping this out. So business is good, George, isn't it? Are you an award winner? Was it you who's winning these awards, or people just hear about you?
Yeah, my clients have won awards. So a few of the people I've worked with.
Yeah, and more word of mouth. People mention you to others. Is that right, or you're doing some marketing? I think people just know you and.
Yeah, I try and post on my stories. So if I'm at a shoot or something, I can't do it all the time, but I think if you're in business or anything, it's good to just remind people that you exist, because with the attention span these days, there's so many things to focus on that right. If you don't post for a week, like you've forgotten about. Pretty much.
I find that too. I'm doing it's more.
Yeah.
People say they do videos and stuff in my world, and they say, "But I didn't get a sale, or I didn't have this to happen." It's awareness over time.
Sowing the seed. The seed has not grown yet.
They just wanted to.
You can't sow the seed and eat the fruit the same day. You have to wait.
These platforms is about awareness. There is also the call to action, that sort of stuff. But I see people in the street, or I ring somebody in Sydney. I do a thing in Sydney, and the guy who's a presenter at one of the radio stations, he said, "Oh, I saw you. You know, the awareness is there. He saw what I'd posted earlier in the day. He didn't comment or anything, but down here at the local supermarket. Oh, I've seen your videos. Yeah. So yes, you just want to be top of mind, so people remember who you are. Yeah. But I guess you want that conversion too. I mean, you want to make sales. I mean, you can't be making videos forever and make no money.
It's a number of things. You got to have a good product.
Yeah.
I think you got to have trust from the person somehow, some bit of trust.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long to build that if you have the proper things.
Yeah. I mean, your constant, that being in people's world over a period of time builds trust. Do you reckon? Yeah.
I try and be as authentic as possible all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm no filter pretty much all the time for those who know me.
Yeah.
And I feel like that makes other people more comfortable with me.
Yeah.
I'm not putting on a little fake little hello, hi, hi, little voice to try and make it all professional. Yeah. I'm just being me. And then other people let their guard down as well.
Yeah. It's the bullshit filter. Somebody was saying that to me today, George. The Aussies have this bullshit filter. Yeah. Being authentic, that's always been the way to go, because nobody can be you. If you can be you in yours, it's a good marketing message actually, and this is what we're trying to do in the studio. If you can just be you, nobody can copy that. So, but you've got to find who you are as well. Sometimes you want to say,
we have an intuition which talks to us. I believe. What happens to me. And if I think of something, I'll say it. If it's for a positive reason, like a positive outcome. Like if I say, Pat, the lighting in here is shit. We need to change it. It's not shit, but if it was, I would tell you. And I wouldn't be. I would be like, I'm trying to help. Like I'm trying.
And people respect that. I guess I was a bit nervous with clients. You don't want to say the wrong thing, but what you're saying is right. If your intention is to get the job done better, they'll appreciate it.
Of course.
This light's no good, we've got to fix it.
Yeah.
And they appreciate that. Yeah. Well, that's what they hire you for. I've had that at a few meetings where I say to them, well, what? And they go, well, I don't know. You're the expert. You tell me.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder of, like, people want to be told, you know, once we're in the business, you learn stuff. Okay. Well, Georgie, what else can I ask you about your life? I'm interested in your sort of progression. So your dad sort of put you onto it as a passion.
I can continue that story if you want.
Yeah. Well, because then you went out on your own and you basically just started
so there was a
yourself.
bit of a gap there. So I used to film the home movie stuff, and we did karate and kickboxing and soccer as kids. So we used to film that, and I would just use iMovie on the Mac, which is a free program that comes with the Mac, and then play around with that. And would show my parents. I could burn it onto a DVD and then put it in the TV and play it, and everyone would sit down and watch. Yeah, right. And everyone would encourage me and say, like, that's awesome. Yeah, right. You know. Wow. And then from there, I did VCE, but I chose all the art subjects. Like
right, so this is in your teen years, you're 16, 17.
Yeah,
and
so, but I was filming on that big camera from when I was probably like 10.
Right.
So did VCE, then I went to do multimedia at school. So I did all this kind of stuff at uni. But I found one of my teachers asked me to take the class because I knew more than her.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I was like, this is a joke, and I was working and distracted by girls as well, so I quit.
Right.
And then,
so you're
having
lucky.
self-belief is important.
Self-belief.
I didn't have self-belief for a very long time. Like, I had the skills and the passion, but I didn't believe that I could go out on my own and reach out to people and say, hey, do you need this? Yeah. And it would help them in a way that's, you know, creating them more money. Yeah, and everyone's a winner. It's a win-win situation. Yeah. So then I worked in warehouses. I worked in a restaurant. I did work as a graphic designer for a little bit. Loved that. It was so good. But I've always got 110% of my jobs and worked overtime, but never really felt the return. Yeah. And then I actually had a business for like 3 years doing scrap metal collection. Right. Where that's where I kind of learnt about like making your own money. Yeah. Without having anyone else or having to get a job to get money. That's the fundamental thing, isn't it? Yeah. Because we're trained to. Maybe our backgrounds are similar. Maybe it's sort of the European background, or everybody. We're all trained to work for someone else or get a job. Yeah. But once you get that mindset saying, hang on, I can do this myself. Yeah. It depends what the mindsets of your parents were. Like if you worked in the family business and you can see that happening, maybe you think differently. Because we mirror each other, everyone. Our parents, we're little mirrors of our parents and our friends. But so, you were lucky, you knew what you want. Oh no, you said that's right. There was a period where you sort of lost your way a bit. Well, I wanted to be an architect when I was a kid. But I used to just do the filming. I used to just do the filming for Dad and whatever. That's how I started doing it. Yeah. And then because I love cars as well and automotive, and I'm like, I like architecture and design. Yeah. Why don't I be a car designer? So I used to have sketchbooks where I draw cars. There's a bit of a pathway there. Yeah. So you're happy you see yourself doing this, growing this business, or you're happy with the size that it's at? Yeah, no, it's definitely definitely growing. But my next issue is supply and demand. That's the thing. Yeah. All my clients are happy with what I'm doing for them. So it's supply and demand is the issue. Yeah, because you're working a lot. Yeah, you're doing a lot. I know you've got a team now, and you've got. There's Ricky here today and video editors, but is that a challenge? Like to get too much work on this end, and then you're letting people down. Yeah, I have let people down in the past, just due to not being able to supply the demand, because everyone's only got a limited amount of energy per day or amount of focus where you can prioritize certain things until it topples over, because you got your girlfriend and you got like the family and you got the cleaning to do at home. So it's a bit of balancing. Yes, because you're basically living the job, but you make mistakes as you go and you learn and you sort of fix it as you go along. Yeah. All right, mate. Well, we can find you? People can find you easily. I mean, through your social media platforms. You've given me your card today as well. Yep. But you're pretty busy. You don't need the phone to be ringing off the hook. The phone can ring. It's fine. You can call me if you need something. People call me all the time. I'll get back. I don't answer all the time, but I'll get back to you eventually. Yeah, no, that's true. If you leave a message. Every time I ring you, you pick up the phone. All right. Well, thank you, mate. I think we gave away some valuable information there for people. Don't you reckon? We've passed on a bit of your knowledge. No? I like your story. At least we know a bit more about you.
All right, George, good
I
on you,
feel-
mate. Well, thank you. I know that I'm tapping into your
Yeah.
audience now.
Well,
I
if
know
any of
you've
you
got a
guys
good audience.
want to be interviewed by Pat in this exact studio,
Thank you.
hit me up and I'll send you Pat's details.
That's
and
right.
yeah,
That's right. I was telling George about this concept when we were working together a few months ago about my studio. So that's right. We'll look after each other and yeah.
So Pat can interview you about anything you want, whether you're a business, whether you're someone who's just trying to get attention. You can come and sit in the studio just like
That's
me.
right. And George will help me put it together and edit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
No, we're going to stream it live.
George from GG
Why are you
Media.
laughing?
And I'm from Tell Your Story Media. My name's Pat. That's George. Thank you, George.
Thanks, Pat.
Good on you,
Thanks
mate.
for
He's a
having
busy
me.
man. He's off to
Are we late for our next job?
He's got to run now.
All right, let's shut this down. We're going to pack this up. Let's go.
Thank you. See ya.
See you guys.